There are some very cool effects that you can achieve in Affinity Designer, and one of them is the glass effect. So today let's go through the 2 ways, that's right, 2 ways to make a glass effect, and just to see how cool it really is. By the way, if you like these kind of videos, or if this one is specifically helpful for you, then make sure you drop the video a like, because it really does help the channel. Okay, let's jump straight into this. So like I said, there is 2 ways that we can do this, and here's number 1. So let's say we've got a picture in our background. What we would do is we'd create a rectangle, or any shape that you'd want to make this glass effect. We'll go with a rectangle for now. And let's use the corner tool to just round off all these corners just to make it look a little bit nicer. Now with our background picture here, what we do is duplicate this. So we can either hit Ctrl and J, or you can right click and go to duplicate. Now with our duplicate, what we do is we head over to the layer effects and we add some blur to it. Now something like that seems fine. Hit close. And then what we do is we place it inside our rectangle. So you can see there's like a blurring effect now on our picture. What we then do is we basically want a white rectangle on top. So if we just make another rectangle, which is going to be again inside our previous rectangle, and just make it white, but we're going to set the opacity to this all the way down to like 3 or 5 will do, just to make a little bit more of that glassy effect. Now again, with our main rectangle, let's go back into the layer effects. And what we want to add now is an outline. We want to do something a bit different with this. We're going to make it a bit of a gradient. So under this fill style, we're going to make it a gradient. And then if you click on the colors, we can actually change these. Now we want to make 3 points. I'm going to just drag another point in the middle here and position it at 50%. Now what we want it to be is white all the way across. So we're going to make all of these white. And now we're going to change the opacity. So we're going to go from something like 50% opacity down to something like, I don't know, 30%, go with like 29, and then back up to 50. And if we really want to, we can add an outer shadow as well, just to give it a bit of a lift. Offset it slightly. And there we go. So we got our glassy effect above this picture now. Now, if we wanted to add something on top of this, let's say, for example, we were going to add a circle, put a circle in there, change the color of it. Now, all we would have to do is put the circle in the background, so above the background that we have already. Duplicate the circle and then place it above inside our glass effect. And then all we need to do is just blur the circle. And depending on how close you want it to be to the glass effect or how far away. So usually the closer something is to glass, the clearer it is. And the further away it is, the more blurry it is. So because this is closer than the background is, we're going to make this a little bit less blurry. We do something like that. So that's one way that we can make a pretty cool glass effect. And I quite like that. Let's move on to the second way. Right, this way is a little bit more versatile, but we'll use the exact same setup. Now, same again, we grab our layer, which is our background picture, we duplicate it, and with this layer, we want to blur it again. But then also we want to preserve the alpha. What we'll also do is head over to the color overlay, select white, and then bring it all the way down, something like, again, 10ish, whatever you kind of want to go for. So you can see some of these steps are actually very similar to the previous ones, but in slightly different ways. Now what we want to do is create our rectangle, and again we'll round off the edges just again to make it look a lot nicer. Now this time what we're going to do is, rather than putting the blurred layer inside the rectangle, we're going to grab the rectangle and mask it to the blurred layer underneath. Now the reason this one is so much better is that now I can move this rectangle and it's going to keep blurring wherever I place it. However, on this old one, if we move this, you can see it cuts off because it's actually moving that background layer as well. So what we would need to do is move all of these out of the layer, move our rectangle, and then move all of these back in to make the effect that we want in the right place. Whereas with this one, now something to remember with this is if you are going to move this rectangle, rather than moving the actual layer, you do need to grab the masked rectangle. If you move the whole layer, you can see the figure's head here. It actually moves, so we're not actually moving it correctly. If we put that back, if we grab this rectangle, you can see it actually gives it the appearance that it's frosted wherever we place the rectangle. Now we could do the same thing. We could grab a shape of any kind. We could place this just above our original background layer like we did before, duplicate it, and this time if we place it just above our masked rectangle, you can see it has the same effect, so it's a lot easier to add things in the background as well. And again, if we grab our rectangle, we can move this glass effect wherever we like. So there. And if we really wanted to, if we wanted to make it similar to the last one, is we could grab our container layer, so this duplicated background layer here, go into the layer effects, and then we can actually add a drop shadow in here as well. We'd increase that radius, give it a bit of an offset. We've got ourselves a pretty nice looking glass effect, which in this case is movable compared to the last one. So there you go, a couple ways that you can make this super cool glass effect. So hopefully this has been helpful, and if it has, make sure you drop the video a like and hit subscribe for more videos like this. Speaking of more videos, have you checked out this one? It's a pretty good one. But as always, I've been BrownBear, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.